Indeed. Also tonight we hear from storm survivor Javon Leary, who tells us how he managed to protect his family during the storm. Here's Crystal Darling with that story.
Well, I must say Hurricane Dorian was the worst hurricane I have ever experienced. I've been to Floyd, Francis, Jane, but Hurricane Dorian was the worst.
Marsh Harbor resident and Hurricane Dorian survivor Javon Leary shares the story of how he and his family withstood the life-threatening storm that tore through central Abaco before raging on to other parts of the island and Grand Bahama. Leary says he was in his mom's apartment when the first part of the storm hit, and then the roof blew off.
Inside the house, the ceiling started to shake. So I tell my wife and my mom and my sister, I say, I don't think we're going to be safe here. But at the time, we can't go nowhere because that's the strong part of the storm. So we had to wait. And so during the eye, we saw that as an opportunity for us to go. But she lives through a dead end. And so all the trees was across the road. And so everyone was trapped. So we had to use cutlass to try to chop our way out.
Leary explains that once a path was made, his mother and sister went to the government clinic for shelter, and he, along with his wife and child, tried to make a hasty escape to a friend's house, but it was too late. The second half of the storm was already upon them, and the house could be seen in the distance with the roof torn off.
When you're in a situation that you feel powerless, and so one thing we did, we just prayed, and then there was a sheet of plywood, a full sheet of plywood, came right in front of us, and we were able to use that for covering to protect us from the rain. And I had to hold that plywood, and we were under there for 3.5 to 4 hours. Me, my wife, and my 3-year-old daughter.
And after waiting for hours under the plywood, Leary decided to take his wife and daughter back into the car and drive to another friend's house.
But when we got there, his roof off. So we had to try to go to another neighborhood, another friend's house. But when we saw his house in the distance, we could see that parts of his roof is off. So I tell my wife and say, well, here's what we could do. We're going to run from house to house and knock on doors. And whoever comes out, we're just going to run inside the house.
And their final plan worked. A neighbor let them into his home, giving them warm clothes and food. Leary says he is thankful to Jehovah for keeping he and his family safe.
We were so grateful for that. And so we saw that as a blessing.
Crystal Darling, ZNS Network News.